Welcome to Parents Talk, where we help parents break the cycle of negative childhood programming. And one of those programs that kids tend to get sucked into is that you gotta go to college. And it's the right path for some people, but for some kids, it's just not the right path. And we're here today to talk about alternatives. I'm here with Liz Lewine. And did I pronounce your name right?
You did.
Hey, I got it right. That's a common joke around here because I so often don't.
All good, but you did.
So, Liz, why don't you tell everybody how you got to where you are today, and then we'll talk about what you do today to help parents.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Francine, for having me on. I'm so excited that you and I met in this networking group, and here we are today because this is such a big thing and very close to my heart and pulls at my heartstrings. So I I grew up thinking I was the black sheep of the family, okay? Because I was different. And what I mean by different is at 14, I was diagnosed with executive function ADHD, and school was absolutely beyond challenging for me academically. It just was. It was hard for me. I just learned differently. And people who have executive function and ADHD, we just process things a whole lot differently. And for me, what that meant is like, school was just hard. I really was just a shell of myself in the confines of a classroom wall. And when I was outside of a classroom wall, like when I was at camp, I thrived. So it was hard for me. It was hard, back then. I'm not going to date myself, but back then it just wasn't as common as it is now. And so I feel like I wore that learning difference. They called it learning disability, and I wore it like a scarlet letter. And I grew up in an academic family. Both my parents went to Ivy Leagues. My sister went to an Ivy League, and I felt like I didn't belong. And I really, really, really wished that there was someone out there like me, who could help figure out what does my future look like? Because honestly, I felt very bleak about my future. I felt like because I wasn't following the traditional path, that I was not going to be successful. I was not going to be able to live independently. I was not going to be able to, have an adult life where I was going to get married and make money. And I didn't know what I was going to do because there wasn't a lot of hope for people who didn't go to college back then. So my parents, although they went to Ivy Leagues and my mom was a teacher and all that stuff, they were very forward thinking and they were very progressive, thank God, because they understood that I was just different. I learned differently. And they went to a function, like a huge gala, and came across a father and daughter team who founded a gap year program out of Cambridge, Massachusetts. And the next thing I knew I was going to do a gap year after high school graduation. And truth be told, I barely graduated high school. So I did a gap year, and through my gap year, I really realized that I'm so much better when I'm not at home. B, I learned by experience, and C, I'm pretty good with people. And so it's okay that I don't go to a 4-year school. I will, forge my way. And that gap year really taught me those things, but also so much more. And I did a ton of internships, and then I did actually try to go to a community college, but again, the school thing just came crashing down on my shoulders. I did another internship. I wanted to be a sportscaster originally, and so I'm very knowledgeable in sports. And I did a sports intern, and then I also got a job making sandwiches at sandwich shop I was living in a college town, and it was amazing. And I felt like I was finally coming into myself, and I was getting rid of some of the negative self-talk. And then I moved to San Francisco with a boyfriend that I met, at he went to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and we moved to San Francisco together. And I fell into recruiting because I kept getting him and everyone else jobs, and so I had a very successful 20 plus year job, career in corporate recruiting, where I was a recruiting consultant and talent advisor for big companies like Spotify, SiriusXM, Disney, NBC, Glassdoor, eHarmony, Lucky Brand, Fender Musical Instruments, GoodRx, and the list goes on. And through my 20 plus years of hiring, interviewing, I felt like there was a huge gap in terms of people passing my interviews and not passing my interviews. And because here's the thing, us recruiters, we are the first point of contact for every single resume. So we are the ones that decide who is moving forward in a hiring process and who isn't. So a lot of people failing my interviews because they just weren't able to interview, whether they lacked confidence, clarity, direction, didn't really believe that they were meant to do what they're doing, or they were in the wrong job, and I feel like it starts young. And I started interviewing a lot of candidates who didn't go to college and comparing them with a lot of candidates who did go to college. And there was like a lot of these people who didn't go to college had a growth mindset, were coachable. They had all these values or characteristics and soft skills that some of these candidates who went to college didn't have. And also, when I was at Spotify, I had 1,000 resumes for every single job. And there were a lot of candidates who had the same background, but one candidate, there was one side of the deck where the candidates had internships and gap years and part-time jobs versus candidates who went to college and didn't do anything else, like no summer job, they didn't do an internship. And we always interviewed the candidates that actually either didn't go to college but had a ton of, like, they did internships, they had other jobs, or they went to college but they had a lot of internships and jobs, because it just shows, it shows different things. It shows employers that you have like the it factor is what we like to call it, like you have those intangibles. So that is my why. That is why I'm doing what I am doing.
So if I understand this correctly, you took all of this knowledge from the corporate world, and you're giving these kids a leg up in the process by telling them how to position themselves to be able to get those jobs.
Yes. And that's why that's why I've launched my own coaching business, where I am a career and life coach for teenagers and young adults, and I help them figure out what's next after high school. And honestly, sometimes even after college. Sometimes some of my clients have gone to college, dropped out, or gone to college and have no idea what it is they want to do. They don't know how to get a job, to interview. And so that is what I do, because I've seen it all.
And that's funny, because even after my 22-year career in the military, and I was coming toward the end of 20 years civil service, I had worked military contractor jobs. So I had all of this work experience, but I had no idea how to interview for a civilian job. So I joined Toastmasters to learn how to speak civilian.
I love that.
So tell me, what are some of the tools that you give these kids to help develop themselves to be hireable?
Yes. So I do a lot of, I have questionnaires. I created a very robust questionnaire that I go through with each client the minute we start working together. And then I have a bunch of assessments that I do. So I am trained, I'm also a trained coach. And so I do assessments, I do a values exercise, I do a Myers-Briggs, a Strength Finders, and then I have other assessments that I do throughout my program that helps guide their journey. And also, we go really in depth during our coaching sessions. So I really kind of help them just talk through things, think about things that they would never think about. I mean, obviously these kids are young and I'm a lot older. So like I have a lot of wisdom and also I have a lot of lived experience. So I talk about all the companies that I've worked for, the types of roles I've hired for, and I get them thinking about things that will interest them and how to match that. But honestly, the biggest thing is, I was known as an interview whisperer. And so I am, a lot of what I do in my program is we talk about how to interview. And in fact, I also facilitate interview prep workshops at high schools. So it is all about how to present yourself and how to storytell and how to come across as confident and mature and what questions to ask, what shouldn't you do, the whole enchilada with all the cheese and sour cream.
Yes, I love that. So if a parent is watching today and they're thinking, I want to hire her, but my kid's still in high school, what would be the perfect time to start thinking about hiring someone like you?
So that's a great question. And it's actually starting in sophomore year. So a lot of kids right now are thinking about what they're going to do after senior year, and it starts sophomore because it is so competitive. I was just talking to my niece who is finishing up her freshman year in high school, and she is ready to figure out what she wants to do. Starting, in the summer, heading into her sophomore year. But more importantly, it's even if parents think sophomore year is too young, I get that, but you got to start thinking about what kind of environment is your kid going to thrive in, because I do believe starting in sophomore year, you kind of know what kind of personality your kid is, what kind of school they're going to be, whether it's big, small, community college, not. I think you start to know during sophomore. But regardless, even if people think that's too early, junior year, no matter what. My other niece just did a college tour. She's a junior right now, and it's very competitive out there. So,
well,
yeah,
I didn't do the traditional college thing. I started college when I was 30 after I got out of the Navy. And if I hadn't been in the Navy, I never, ever, ever would have dreamed of going into electronics. So I could see where starting early and exploring the opportunities would be a valuable asset. Now, I know, and I don't have any experience with the Ivy League, but don't kids start like freshman year building their resume to put
they do.
in application?
That's what I'm talking about. They do. I mean, freshman year is probably too early, but definitely sophomore year. I mean, the first niece I was talking about, who's finishing up her freshman year, she is on the Ivy League track. And so we were talking last night, actually, what type of things she's doing. And she's heading into her sophomore year. She's going to Paris for 3 weeks she's a baker and loves cooking, and she is going to Cordon Bleu in Paris. I know. But she was also telling me that she wants to do an internship at a hospital because she actually wants to go to medical school. She's a freshman and she already knows this. So she's very smart. And my other niece, her sister, who is a junior, she did the college tour and is exploring colleges where they have a good pre-med, because she also wants to be a pediatrician. So there you go. But the one thing I told both of them, and definitely my niece who's a freshman, she you internships honestly are the biggest thing. If I could go to Mount Everest and just get flown there and yell it off the mountain, I would scream how important internships are because it shows so many things. First of all, for someone who has no idea what they want to do, or even if they think they know what they want to do, when you do an internship, it really gives you that real world experience. And sometimes that internship is like proves to the person, oh, wait, I don't think I want this. I didn't realize that I would have to do X, Y, and Z. Now I got to think of my other options. So it teaches you what you might like, what you don't like, what you want to do, what you're good at, what your strengths are. If this is something that's aligned with your passions. I mean, all of these things are so important that internships tell us and teach us. And also it gives you that real world experience. You have to show up on time. You're held accountable, work ethic. All those things are crucial. And I could tell you right now, colleges look at that. And if you don't go to college, companies or trades want to see that you're already ahead of the game and that you're taking your life after high school seriously. And that is what internships and part-time jobs and apprenticeships that teaches you all of that. It shows people that you are really taking your life seriously.
And on that flip side, I heard about a kid who thought they wanted to be a doctor. They were on that doctor track all the way up to junior year when they did an internship and fainted from the sight of blood.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. There's so many people that are like, oh, I want to be in entertainment. I want to be in entertainment. I want to be a producer. And then they get like, right. And then they get like a very, an internship or a very low paying job. And they're like, oh, wow, I don't know. That's a lot of work, or I'm going to have to start at the very, very bottom, whatever it may be. And they're like, I don't think I want this. And then it's like, okay, now what? So, right. And so with all my clients, I'm always encouraging them to pick 3 to 5 careers that would interest them, and then really start to dig in, do research. In my program, I have a whole informational interviewing portion. And so everyone reaches out to people, and you got to start with a LinkedIn profile. It's never too young. Like, honestly, probably starting senior year, maybe definitely freshman year in college, do it.
And okay, so what does that do for the young person who's not ready to go into corporate? 'Cause and I even had this mentality that LinkedIn is for corporate people, because that's what I was told when I was
exactly.
So
exactly.
Now explain LinkedIn. Explain LinkedIn for those of us who think that.
Sure. Oh my, and great question. And honestly, Francine, you're right. I was told the exact same thing. But no, LinkedIn is oh my God, I don't even, okay. It's like for, I don't know, it's going to be a bad analogy. I was going to say the yellow pages for us, but like LinkedIn is like the biggest platform out there that is professional. It is like Yelp for professional, for the professional world. And I'm not even going to say corporate because it's not all corporate. I worked at a nonprofit and I use LinkedIn. A lot of tradespeople are on LinkedIn, construction companies, companies that deal with welding. I mean, it's for professionals. And so you create a LinkedIn profile, and I'm not going to go all into a LinkedIn profile. That's if someone wants to work with me, but you create a LinkedIn profile and you show up as a professional. And that is how you kind of build your brand as a professional.
Okay, so not only entrepreneurs build brands. I love this concept because, well, I help entrepreneurs build their brand, figuring out what their target message is, who they're speaking to. So I'm collecting that someone getting ready for the job market needs to do the same thing, because if they want to be in HR, they aren't going to be talking to people hiring nurses, but they might be talking to the HR representatives who hire the nurses.
Absolutely. Almost everyone in this day and age, and I'm saying almost, is on LinkedIn. Whether it's an athlete, professional athlete, whether it's a college grad. And honestly, as a college grad, I'm seeing, I do a lot of early career hiring and coaching. And so a lot of people are on LinkedIn, even if you don't go to college after high school. There's a way that you can build your LinkedIn profile that shows that you're early in your career. And it's a fabulous, and honestly, LinkedIn is all about networking and connecting with people on LinkedIn. And that's how you do informational interviews. And that's how you see if you can do an internship. Almost all companies are on LinkedIn now.
And when we say build a brand, all that means is how people recognize you.
Recognize you. Yes,
and
exactly.
That means don't show a picture of you in your sweat clothes after a workout.
Exactly.
Don't post pictures of you in the bar drinking.
Yes.
Be in a professional setting and be who you want to be in the future.
Yes, exactly.
When I was trying to go from trades, because, I was a grease monkey, I was a mechanic. When I was trying to go from the trades to supervision or management, everyone told me, dress for the job you want, not the one you have.
That is I've heard that 1,000 times. And yes, I cannot tell you how true that is. Dress for the job you want. And also, so again, my program talks all about how to be a professional.
And when you say how to be a professional, you mean even if the child wants to be a professional plumber?
Absolutely. It does not matter. It does not matter. You have, because whether you're a plumber, whether you're an esthetician, a makeup artist, a product manager at Spotify, you have to, you're still a professional. You're still doing an adult job. You're dealing with people. It's all the soft skills. Like, you still have to be professional. Even as a plumber, you can't just show up at someone's house or company and have pants that are down to your ankles, where your underwear, you're showing your underwear. Like, it doesn't matter. You still have to be a professional. You still have to shake hands. You still have to talk to the homeowner or the company and explain what's going on and what's needed. And there's so many things. So it doesn't matter what you do, whether it's trades or a corporate job or grad school, whatever it may be, you have to be a professional.
And that's why I tell all young people to join Toastmasters, because you do learn those communication skills, which are
absolutely
important no matter what.
No matter what. Yes.
Now, if a child has absolutely no clue what they want to do with the rest of their life, and the parents push them into your care, how do you talk to the kid now that's coming to you? My parents made me come to talk to you. How would you start that conversation?
I would say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad they did, because you're going to figure out what it is you want to do after high school or college with me. Isn't that the best news possible? And so, yes, I do that. I have icebreakers. I have worked with so many different types of people. I've worked with young adults. I've worked with teens. I was a camp counselor. I babysat. I know how to talk to teens, and I know how to help them get excited about something. It's just, it's being relatable, which I've been told I am, and I feel like I am. I'm not one to toot my own horn, but but I am very, very, very relatable. Even myself, I have so many interests and passions and things I've done. I can talk sports, I can talk non-sports, I can talk entertainment, movies, video games, whatever it may be. So, it's all about me. I do a good job building relationships with the family, but more importantly, with the teen/young adult.
Okay, here's the other end of the spectrum. My kid is in middle school and I want to make sure they have that leg up before they even get to high school. Could you work with someone like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, honestly, people have started to ask me about that, like doing like little workshops, because you got to start honing in your kind of like your skills and strengths early on. And also so I believe in passions, but do I believe in you have to do something you're passionate about? Yes and no, if that makes any sense. It's like it's important to have passions, but a lot of people a lot of people want to be like a Major League Baseball player or a football player, and they might not be good enough, but they're super passionate about it. So I always say instead focus on your strengths. Like why, like you're so passionate about that. So you must have some strengths that are in relation to being like a Major League Baseball player. So what does that mean? Are you eye-hand coordination? Are you good at that? Are you good at, are you really good with athletics? So let's figure out what are some things you can do, athletically or sports, how to hone those skills. And that does start very young. All that stuff starts young. Whether you want to be an actress, you want to be whatever, influencer.
You know what I'm hearing here?
Mm-hmm.
You need to come on the Confidence Club for Kids YouTube channel with me, and we need to do a special segment for the middle schoolers, getting them ready to go to high school, getting them excited about high school, getting them confident.
Yes.
Confident.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We are going to do that. So parents, be on the lookout. The Confidence Club for Kids will have a segment for the kids in middle school.
Yes.
To get them excited about what comes next.
Oh, there's so many things. There's so many things. There's so many things.
So parents, you're just going to have to wait because we just thought of this right now.
I know. That's the beauty about all this, about good conversations.
If you are watching this, and maybe it's not even up on the Confidence Club for Kids yet because this might lead the next segment for the kids, tell us what your child is passionate about so we can talk directly to your child.
Yes. Yes.
And if the episode is already out and your child is passionate about something, let us know and we'll do a second segment.
Yeah, we will. Amazing.
So tell us, how can parents get in touch with you? How can they get in your world? How do they find you?
Yes. Please email me. I would love to have a free consultation with you to see how I can help support you and your family, because honestly, it's more expensive for your kid to be struggling and staying at home than it is to be launched and starting to live an adult life and an independent life. So please email me at coachliz@lizlewine.com. And that's LEWIN as in Nancy.com.
Perfect. I am so happy we got to talk today.
Me too.
Yes, because this is so important for families. If you have any questions for Liz, please drop them in the comments, contact one of us, and we will do another episode. We will do a segment on the Confidence Club for Kids YouTube channel for children.
Yes.
And we will make sure that your kid does not fail to launch.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. If anyone has seen that movie, Failure to Launch, you know what we're talking about. And if you haven't, go check out the trailer.
Right? Break that negative childhood programming. Not every kid belongs in college.
You just got to have a plan.
That's it. Find what they want. find what they're happy doing, find what their talents match, and you will have a happy child.
Yes. And then you'll be happier.
And with that, thank you for joining us on Parents Talk. Watch out for the next episode. Bye.
Bye.